Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome. Today, behind the scenes. Come with me into the netherworld that exists behind the scenes of the Mindbody Medicine for Chronic Pain podcast. This is a year-end fun peek behind the curtain because this is a time of year where most people are just chilling. So let's chill. And this is going to be topical for healing chronic pain. It is not a stretch to make a behind the scenes episode relevant and educational for chronic pain healing, because a huge thing I have found while hosting this podcast is that I have been tuning into my true self while I've been planning this and while I've been recording this. And of course, as you know, that is very relevant for this healing work. We will touch on that and other subjects that are important for healing. And it's going to be fun. Today, we're going to have a fun talk and hopefully a meaningful talk. Let's do it today. Let's chill out and enjoy this relaxed holiday time together. So the theme for today, 6 peeks behind the scenes. So peek number 1. Just for number 1, I'm just going to paint a picture. Here we are behind the scenes. Just so you know where we're at and what it looks like. We are in my podcast recording studio, and I record all the episodes in my home office. It is not a recording studio, none of that. It is just me, the microphone, and my laptop. I record from the same chair where I see my clients via telehealth. And I will say some episodes I have recorded in bed. Just to come clean about that. So cozy. But usually I'm in the home office sitting in the chair, just like I would when I see my clients. So the background, I took a free online course through a company called Captivate at the beginning of this year. And the course was called How to Start a Podcast. Start a podcast and get your first 100 downloads in 30 days. And I just did exactly what they said. So, if you're listening and you want to start a podcast and get your first 100 downloads in 30 days, Captivate. Easy answer. Captivate is run by this British guy named Mark. It's his company, and he teaches the online course, and he's so great. And I literally just obeyed Mark's orders, bought the microphone and headphones he recommended. Now all my podcast stuff is British. Like my hosting platform, which is obviously Captivate, because in the course they sell you on Captivate, obviously, and I followed his instructions to a T, so I just got Captivate. But it's a great hosting platform. It's all British, so if you go to my podcast website, you will subtly notice the dates, the published dates. It'll be published 28th December 2025. Rather than saying, the American way. They do it the British way. Love it. All about it. So happy here. So, the basics for taking you behind the scenes today. I always prepare before a podcast episode. I'll always prepare bullet point notes for each episode, so I know generally what I'm gonna say. I will never go into it fully raw. There's always some form of note preparation. Many of the episodes are just some points I want to make, and then I leave a lot of room for riffing. But some episodes are literally scripted out almost word for word. Like when I'm nervous about it, or when I think I'm going to say something stupid, and I'm I need to stick to a script, and I need to be careful. Then I will do almost a line by line script. No one edits the podcast except for me. No one edits the script. No one edits the audio. Just me. I have to have it that way. I know that if I did this with a team, the podcast would be much less creative. It would be much more fear-based, and my voice would be much less authentic, and I'd be way less me. That is decades of growing up in a judgmental environment, both family and community. All of that has become internalized into internal working models for how to behave around others, just living rent free inside my brain and my body. I I tend to really shut myself down if I think people are going to be uh, judging or looking, even helping me, like helping, quote unquote. My brain and body can interpret helping as just a friendly term for judging. So I keep my inner self small by default. And doing this podcast is an exercise in making my inner self big. And that's important for me. So it's just me. No one helps me. And I honestly like it that way. And it kind of needs to be that way, at least for now, for where I am at mentally. So, okay, the basics. More of just the basics of taking you behind the scenes to paint the picture. Um, I'm a decent speaker. I know that. I feel pretty confident in that. Like, I am a decent speaker. That means I should be a good public speaker, but I'm not a great public speaker because I am terrified. The anxiety. Oh my god. And surely that, that comes from trauma that I've endured, like feeling that I need to make myself small in order to be acceptable. And so speaking, I either feel like I am being super fake and my body rejects that, or I feel like I'm being too real and my body is scared of that. So this podcast is awesome because look at this. I can speak and I don't have to public speak. Yay. This is the graded exposure. And maybe someday I'll build up to like feeling very comfortable and confident public speaking, but right now I'm just getting comfortable and confident speaking. Cuz like okay, let me just say that after I recorded the first two episodes of this podcast, the first two episodes, that's number one, who is Sean Hershey, and number two, what is TMS? Those are the first two episodes that I recorded and published. After I recorded that audio for both, which I did separately, my face was beet red, so flushed, hives on my neck and chest, literally, like my body freaked out. Episodes 1 and 2, my body freaked out. This is the life of a sensitive TMS person. Like many of you understand. You understand. We have big emotional reactions in our bodies. Yes, we do. And it's funny because I've listened back to those two early episodes and honestly, I have been like, "What? Like how did I pull these together?" I think they're both great. My body was like, literally, I'm telling you, my face was beet red and I had hives all over my chest. Like, my body was freaking out, but my voice was steady. My voice was confident and my message was on point. And I'm just like, fuck. Honestly, I think I sounded pretty fucking good from the beginning. I think I sounded pretty fucking good. Um, I feel like I was channeling a little bit. Like truly, that's what it feels like because like I was not fully in control of that. That was an energy working through me. Like that was part of me. I guess everything I do, sure, it's like part of me, same as you. Everything anyone does, it's part of them. But recording those episodes, like that wasn't fully like in my control. It was like deeper than that, like if that makes sense. Speaking of tuning into yourself, I don't know how I did that. I don't know which part of me stepped up and told my story really eloquently and like got this podcast off to a strong start, but some part of me stepped in and did that, and that was awesome. And like I said, it was not fully in my control. Not fully in my control. Just like everything you do is not fully in your control. Like we're all animals. We're all energetic beings. There's more to us than we are consciously aware of and that we control. And I'm pulling this out of the behind the scenes because this is important for understanding, like, this is the energy that we're trying to tune into. This is part of us. It's part of me, it's part of you, it's part of everyone. This is the energy we're trying to tune into. Like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you when you lose control of yourself? You losing control of yourself, different parts of you. All right. Okay, okay. Creativity is so nuts, right? It's like it's me and it's out of my control. Just like you and you are out of your control. Language is so limited when I say that, but like I hope you're understanding that there's no words to really describe this, but I hope you're understanding what I mean. You are you and you are out of your control. And good thing I didn't do a video podcast for those first 2 episodes because I would have looked very hot and bothered and overwhelmed and stressed and yeah. Whenever I tell anyone, like, I have a podcast and I have a solid audience and I'd love to grow it, people are always inevitably, they're like, "Do video." And I'm always inevitably like, "Shut up. Shut up." Hashtag still growing, hashtag still healing, hashtag baby steps. Okay, this leads us to the second peek behind the scenes. First, I'm just, giving you the overview. So now you got that. Basics of the podcast, coming behind the scenes with me. Second peek behind the scenes. This is going to be a super fun and it builds off of part one. Let me play for you the practice that I did the night before I recorded the first episode. You ready? Let's hear it. So this is going to be me with a podcast. How crazy is that? I'm like, I don't want to do this. Okay. Right. Isn't that amazing? So that's the second peek behind the scenes for you. Very fun, right? And then somehow I pulled it together the next day. Okay. Here is the third peek behind the scenes. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for medical advice. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go here. When I was prepping the first episode, I originally had this podcast is not intended as a substitute for medical advice in the show note template for the episode. I felt like it made the show notes look super official, like legal disclaimer. It was, it was like giving professional, it was giving serious, it was giving has legal counsel in house. And if I had a lawyer, they'd probably stop me right now. But I don't have a lawyer. So no one's stopping me from saying shit. So, is this podcast intended as a substitute for medical advice? Wow, what a question. Let me tell you, your poor medical provider, that poor soul, they are dealing with you. I know because my medical providers had to deal with me. These poor souls are working in a broken system that sucks the life out of a lot of them. I know because I worked in a medical system for a long time as a social worker. These poor medical providers, these poor souls, they're working in this rough system and they are dealing with us. And we have symptoms that these providers don't know how to cure. So, if you have symptoms, physical symptoms in your body, step one, go to the doctor. Not everything is TMS. period. Trust mainstream medicine, period. Get your symptoms checked out, period. Because you might have an infection. You might have, God forbid, cancer. You know, you might have something, like, you understand. You might have a condition that is not TMS. A mainstream Western medical provider can help you with that, so go to them for help. And always know your doctor most likely doesn't know about TMS. Your doctor most likely doesn't know about neuroplastic pain and neuroplastic symptoms. So once you know about this stuff, then you know. And for you, once you've gone to the medical providers and you haven't gotten any meaningful solutions to your problems, and you've gone for second opinions and third opinions, and you still haven't gotten any meaningful solutions for your problems, yes, now you begin to see your symptoms fit with the TMS category. Your symptoms fit with the neuroplastic pain category. Yes, then you arrive here. Welcome. I am not your doctor. I cannot be your doctor. I am not a doctor, period. I am not a medical doctor. Do not think of me as such. I am a psychotherapist. Is this podcast intended to be your doctor? This is where I'm like, oh, come on. You're not stupid. The people who listen to this podcast, I feel confident in you. I know you're not stupid. You know the difference between a podcast and a doctor. You know that. I know you know that. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for medical advice. Let me say this and say this again, because this is so important. Not everything is TMS. The mind and the body are connected. So yes, there's basically a mind-body component to every disorder and symptom and disease. But this podcast, Mindbody Medicine for Chronic Pain, this podcast is about healing from TMS and from neuroplastic conditions. TMS and neuroplastic conditions are the conditions where healing emotionally and psychologically heals the condition. With other conditions, like bacterial or viral infections, cancer, HIV, which is a virus, COVID, also a virus. With other conditions like these, emotional work will help you, yes, but you need other interventions like medications, surgeries, chemotherapy. Those things will actually do the core of the healing work. This podcast is not about healing from strep throat or HIV or cancer or an acutely broken bone. You know what I'm talking about. This podcast may help you with that stuff. It will very likely help you with that stuff. It will not be the core of your healing for those conditions. This podcast is intended to treat conditions that are TMS. It is not intended to treat conditions that are not TMS, period. Okay. Not everything is TMS. That said, a lot of things are. A lot of things are. A lot of symptoms are TMS. And if you're here and if you're listening, you're probably with me and your symptoms are probably TMS. So yeah, this podcast is not intended as a substitute for medical advice. Once you know you have TMS, this podcast is better than the medical advice you will receive from most doctors, okay? So this podcast is not intended as a substitute for medical advice. I took that out of the show note template. It just didn't make the cut. And right now my in-house counsel is saying, "Sean, edit this out of your podcast." But my bank account is saying, "Sean, you don't have in-house counsel." So I'm saying whatever the fuck I want. Okay, enough of this. Here's the fourth peek behind the scenes for this episode, peek number 4. We already talked about this a little bit at the top, and this fourth thing, this is the most important thing. All jokes aside, this is the most important thing in this episode. Letting go of myself and letting myself take over. This harkens back to what I was getting into before. I am not in control of this podcast. I'm in control of this podcast. This we're back to like there are no good words to describe that, but you see what I mean. There are parts of me that are not in control here. This podcast for me has been an exercise in letting go and just putting myself out there. Like, okay, when I started talking about sex and when we got into anal sex, and then when I started talking about white anti-racism work, and literally there's one podcast where where I was like, they teach you nothing in American schools. Nothing. It's nothing but white supremacist brainwashing. And hearing that back, I was just like, well, yeah, that's A, that's true. B, that's what I really think. And C, the gate is open and this is just me. The channel between my brain and my mouth is just now the channel between my brain and this public forum that people actually listen to. So my thoughts and myself are just out there. And I thought at first, I very much remember having these thoughts. I thought at first that I was like getting lost in this different mode as I was recording the podcast. I thought I was getting lost and like distracted from stuff and like just distracted because I was like creating this. And then what I thought was happening was that I would like surface from this distracted mode and like tune in and be like, what am I doing? Like, what? I can't believe this. Like, I have a whole podcast out there on the internet talking about getting anally penetrated. What? Like, I need to delete this ASAP. How did I let this happen? You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was like waking up in those moments, and I was literally horrified by what I realized when I awoke. But I did not delete the podcast. And as time went on, I realized it was actually the opposite. I was not waking up in those moments. I was like going back to sleep in those moments. I was drowning in self-judgment and self-stifling and self-censorship like many people are. And in doing the podcast, I was actually starting to crest above the surface of all of that as a more authentic version of me. And then when I would dip back below the surface into judgment and self-doubt and wanting myself to be quieter and more subtle and whatever, the real waking up was waking up to my creativity and waking up to being myself. Self-judgment is not usually the wakeful space. Not usually the wakeful space. Letting yourself be yourself. That may feel weird to you. It certainly felt weird to me, and it feels weird to me still, but that is usually the wakeful space. Tuning in through creativity. Like, what is creativity? What are thoughts? Where does this material come from? I do not even know. That's what I mean when I say I don't fully control this podcast. Like, I am not in control of myself. I'm letting go of myself and letting myself take over. And in that way, recording this and putting this out there has been really healing for me. And I hope it's been helpful in healing for you as well. My hope is that this project is like good vibes, good vibes, good vibes, healing vibes, healing vibes, healing vibes, all around for everyone. And will some people hate it? I'm sure they will. Some people hate and resist, the message of TMS and neuroplastic pain. People, for example, hated Dr. Sarno. Uh, yeah. People hate gay people. Yes. People hate anti-racist work, since that's something that I can't resist talking about. Yes, of course people hate that. I am talking about all of the above and exposing people to all of the above because that's what I want to talk about. And it's what matters. I don't like to be hated, but the healing for me is in like just to like, okay, fine. I'm going to be myself, talk about what really matters, in my opinion, and okay, fine. Some people will like it, some people will hate it. Fine. Fine. Okay, fifth peek behind the scenes. We're on to number 5, my influences. No. Okay, so just very briefly, I want to say some shout outs to the influences that have you know created the mindset that has put me in the space to speak on the topics that I speak about. Okay, first shout out, of course, to Nicole Sachs's Cure for Chronic Pain podcast. Wow, that show is fucking gold. I have listened to every episode. I do not think I can say that for any other podcast. And especially in my early TMS healing days, like that podcast was my lifeline. That podcast changed my life. Period. Major shout out to Nicole Sachs. I want to shout out How to Trust Yourself with Anna Holtman. That is such a great podcast, such a great podcast. And Anna puts out really great fucking content. If anyone's interested, How to Trust Yourself with Anna Holtman, great fucking content. Shout out to Allison Pereer of Abundance Practice Building. She is a business coach for therapists. And back in the day, it was Allison Pereer's very low touch, very affordable coaching program that empowered me to create my own private practice way back in, that was 2021 when I started that. She really helped me. Like, this business wouldn't exist without her guidance. And she has a great podcast called the Abundant Practice Podcast, which I listen to regularly. Her content isn't for everyone. It's very like specifically for therapists, like who are marketing a private practice. But that woman changed my life. Major shout out to Allison Pereer. Shout out to Michael Moore, who had a fucking baller podcast called Rumble with Michael Moore. Michael Moore is a top fucking notch storyteller. I am very impressed with his ability to like make you feel something when he's talking. He fucking inspires me. Shout out to Like Mind, Like Body and Christy Weepy, who hosts that podcast. Very good content. And Christy makes it very fun to listen and easy to follow along. Very smart. She makes it make sense. Major shout out to Christy and Like Mind, Like Body. Shout out to Dan Ratner and his Crushing Doubt podcast. Very well organized thought process. So logical. You can't fight with that shit. Like, that logic is rock solid, and I find that inspiring. I have to credit one of my most important influences of all time. This is not the podcast per se, like this is not a podcast, but the feminist activist, writer, and scholar Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks, her writings, her ideas. Like I said, though not a podcast, she did do a whole bunch of talks that were recorded at the New School in like 2016 or something like that, as talks with like different scholars and like different like sort of local celebrities. Like, she did one with Gloria Steinem, and she did one with Shirlene McRae, who's the wife of Bill de Blasio, who was the mayor of New York at the time. She did one with Cornel West. Great fucking conversations. Bell Hooks' analysis of imperialist, capitalist, white supremacist patriarchy has been foundational in my understanding of how this world works. Sadly, imperialist, capitalist, white supremacist patriarchy is obviously not a good thing, but when you begin to understand it, you begin to understand how our society unfortunately works. And Bell Hooks was so smart, so funny, so fucking iconoclastic. And she was truly someone I can comfortably say was a genius. I have learned so much from her. Um, Shout out to, of course, Robin DiAngelo, who is a really great white anti-racism activist and advocate. She wrote the book White Fragility, very important in my learning and unlearning, seeing and understanding how social structures in this world work and seeing my role in it. Of course, shout out to Michelle Alexander, who wrote The New Jim Crow. Such foundational knowledge, again, about how the world works and my role in it. So much inspiration that's been soaked up in my brain and hangs out in my head and makes up my worldview. And it comes through in this podcast. So taking you behind the scenes into that. Of course, major shout out, the foundational shout out for this podcast. Shout out to Dr. John Sarno for putting this chronic pain healing stuff out there in his books in public in the first place. And a huge shout out to Christina Sarno Horner for taking me under her wing and acting as a sort of mentor to me. Such gratitude for that. Such gratitude for that. And the final shout out in the podcast world. My own podcast is nothing like this podcast, but the best single podcast episode ever created by far. That's an interesting point. What do you think is the best single podcast episode ever created by far? For me, it is a no-brainer. The best single podcast episode ever created by far. Episode 3 of the 1619 Project podcast. It's called The Birth of American Music. That fucking episode. It's only 35 minutes long. It's narrated by New York Times culture critic Wesley Morris, and it is the best single podcast episode ever created by far. All of the most interesting and important topics: history, race, understanding history through music. There's nothing more interesting than engaging with and learning about history through the medium of music. Nothing. Cultural appropriation, understanding how the past impacts the present, all that. Some of the best storytelling I've ever experienced in my life. And the music. If I could include copyrighted music in my podcast, do you know how much that shit would slap? Damn. The Birth of American Music, 1619 Project podcast. It is just one of those take your fucking breath away storytelling experiences. My podcast is nothing like that, but I consider that episode to be an influence of mine anyway, because it is a work of fucking genius, and I really fucking appreciate that. So yeah, I just want to name all that behind the scenes. These are the influences and the podcasts and people and ideas that I find very compelling and that have impacted my life and my voice, and so therefore are part of this. And those are the influences that I'm consciously aware of. Like, I'm sure there are subconscious influences that I can't even name, but they are there. For example, my 6th grade teacher, Sister Rosaria. Some of her voice and her soul probably shines through into the voice of my podcast all these years later. You know what I mean? Because that's how life works, taking you behind the scenes into Sister Rosaria's 6th grade classroom. Because why not? Okay. 6th and final peek behind the scenes, ratings and reviews. Whew. When I have listened back to this podcast, sometimes I'm like, if I was rating the podcast myself, a part of me would be like 3, maybe 4. That would be my star review. And then like written review would be like good content, but the host repeats himself constantly. Like Learn to edit. Learn economy of language. Sean says the same thing over and over, sometimes in the same way, in the same episode. So cringe. A lot of negative reviews will end with like, I couldn't even, I had to turn it off. I would end my review with, I had to turn it off. Right? Sometimes when I listen back, like, I'm like, man, the repetition is a little cringe. What can I say? I can't be perfect. But another part of me would be like, star review, 5 stars. Written review, great content. It's like Sean knows I'm at the gym, washing the dishes, at the store, driving, because he repeats the points he makes. So they really sink into my brain. It's like he understands neuroplasticity. It's so helpful. It's so helpful, right? I don't fucking know. I really don't fucking know. It's another example of me relinquishing control of myself and just letting myself take over. I'm learning to trust myself rather than fear myself. That has been massively helpful in my healing. I'm sharing this with you in a hopefully fun way so you can pick it up if it feels helpful and healing to you. And obviously, no matter how this hits you, you know that fearing yourself is part of your pain issue. Having shame about yourself is part of your pain issue. Repressing yourself and repressing your emotions and repressing who you are, that's part of your pain issue. Learning not to fear yourself is going to be part of your pain healing. You understand that. We have many episodes that go into that in detail. This is just a fun, skim the surface kind of shit for today. Anyway, I'm just putting it all out there to make sure this behind the scenes episode is a little educational because it obviously is. Here we are. Okay, ratings and reviews, whatever you think. It's your turn now. Write a review for the podcast. Give it some stars. Now it is your turn. You made it this far, you're gonna do it. I will have more ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts next week, and you will be part of it. You don't have to give it 5 stars. If you authentically want to, please do. I would love that. Right now, I have a bunch of 5-star ratings, which I totally love, but like it's kind of giving like, oh, only his friends listen to the podcast, which is not even true. Some of these reviews are from people I absolutely do not know, and I see the analytics. The numbers are high, much higher than the number of friends that I have. So I'm like, this is not just my friends listening to this shit. Some are my friends, and some who have written reviews are my friends and people who I know. So thank you so much love to you. But let's get some more reviews, and let's get some reviews from haters. Go ahead, let's make it controversial. If you made it this far, I guess you probably don't hate the podcast, but maybe you think it's hopelessly mid. Mid, that's like young person slang for mediocre, if that's not clear to any people. If you think it's hopelessly mid, give it 3 stars. Write a written review that says that it's hopelessly mid. Great. Here's how. You do the review and the star rating in the app where you listen to the podcast. So most of you, I can tell from the analytics, most of you listen on Apple Podcast. Scroll down to where you see the stars. Give it a star review. Underneath that, it says write a review. Write a review. They make it so easy. And you don't have to, like, your review can be lame. Just write something. I'd love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. Even if it's a sentence, a fragment of a sentence. Great. I'd love to hear from you. Spotify is the second most popular way to listen to this show. On Spotify, you can't actually do a written review, but you can definitely review with stars. They're right there. They're right there. Oh, okay. As we're winding down, let me just say the best part of being behind the scenes on this podcast, the best part is this. Truly, for me, it's so nice to be talking to you. Like, truly, it really is. It's so nice to know that you're in this healing mindset with me. And hi, I'm here in this healing mindset with you. None of us are alone in this. That is really beautiful. It's really nice to see that people actually listen to this podcast. And as I'm putting it out, people actually engage with this podcast. And I see you. I see you out there. You're listening, you're healing. And I love that for you. And I love you for that. We are doing this together. Period. I will see you next year in 2026.